You can add Judge Mehta, make that 5 judges in the D.C. Courts who have now opposed Donald Trump and his pardon and commutation of sentences for the Jan 6 defendants, the ones who were convicted beyond a reasonable doubt of trying to overthrow our democracy and government by violent means, with seditious conspiracy as their charges, while they some of which might have gotten pardons, some of which might have had just their sentences commuted, meaning that their guilty verdicts stay on the books. These judges are all linked together, and now I'm going to talk about Judge Mehta and the difference between the Oathkeepers and the Proud Boys. There's a lot of confusion about that, about what Donald Trump did to which, and why one group was given a full pardon and the other group only had their sentence commuted, meaning shortened, keeping their conviction on their books. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. Let's get to it. I've done a lot of reporting here on the network and on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, about how federal judges are responding to Donald Trump's, in their view, disgusting, amoral, inappropriate, sacrilegious, if you will, pardons and other commutations of sentences and clemency for Jan 6 insurrectionists, including the most violent ones, including the ones that attacked 5 different groups of law enforcement in and around the Capitol. Now, their response, it can be limited in a way. It depends on where the person is in the process along the continuum. And that I'll also describe the big difference between the Oathkeepers and the Proud Boys. And let me do a spoiler alert here. The big difference is Roger Stone. Remember that name? I'll get to it at the end of this hot take. Let's talk about the differences. Those that were convicted, regardless of their crimes, including the most violent, and jailed, whether the D.C. jail or in the Federal Bureau of Prisons for their permanent assignment, that group were pardoned under that, that's the golden ticket for presidential clemency. They were literally let out of jail. It was a giant gold key that opened up the doors and all these people came flooding out. They're home already. I mean, the day of the pardon, people like Enrique Tarrio with the Proud Boys, who was convicted and sentenced to 22 years in prison, was home partying in Miami. Yeah, that's the group that's in prison. Pardon, prison, release. Done. Now let's move to the group that is still in process. The group that's still in process means they have been detained or not detained, awaiting sentencing or trial, bench or jury. What happens to that group? Well, if they were pardoned, if they obtained a pardon and they hadn't yet been sentenced or they hadn't yet been tried, then the indictment needs to be addressed by the Article 3 judge, right? Yes, under the Article 3 judge. So Article 1 power is in Congress, legislative branch. Article 2, the presidency. Article 3, the judges. So with their Article 3 power to administer justice, they have an indictment they have to deal with. Most of the judges are not dismissing those indictments, even though there's a pardon in place for these Jan 6 defendants with prejudice, meaning it can never come back. They're leaving open the door ever so slightly for a future Department of Justice, meaning a Democratic one, to go after these people again, right? And if they haven't already been tried, and we're only at the indictment stage, and we haven't gotten to the conviction or sentencing stage, there's no double jeopardy issue because jeopardy hasn't attached because a jury hasn't been sat. Yeah. So you have that group. So what the judges are doing there, like Judge Chutkan and Judge Beryl Howell, is they're dismissing the indictment under protest, but they're doing it in a way that it could be revived in the future. And they're also using their opportunity to get the final word in about what they observed, what they saw in all their Jan 6 cases, the couple of thousand of them that went through the courts of the D.C. Federal courts, and their written orders, chastising Donald Trump, making sure we don't whitewash what happens, and for posterity, recording the horror of the crimes of the Jan 6 insurrectionists. And so you put in that category sort of Judge Chutkan, who presided over Donald Trump's D.C. election interference case, and then you've got people like Beryl Howell, and then Amy Berman Jackson. I think you put those together. Then you have the group, so that's that next group. If they've already been sentenced, now that they've been pardoned, their conviction comes off the books and the sentencing ends. So they're no longer under the jurisdiction of that federal judge any longer. And then you've got this subcategory of those, and it's a small group, there's only 8 of them, they're all Oathkeepers. Those that were not pardoned, but had their sentences reduced to 0, meaning they're already in jail. Like Stuart Rhodes had an 18-year sentence. He served like a year of it-ish. Now it's been reduced to 0. So in a commutation of sentence, another form of clemency, it's not a pardon, the conviction stays on the books. He's a convicted felon, still subject to the administration of justice and post-release restrictions by a federal judge, very important. But he's let out of jail. He or she is let out of jail. That's the Oathkeepers. That was that little twist in Donald Trump's pardon. He pardoned declaration. He pardoned everybody except for the Oathkeepers. Very interesting. Now, the Oathkeepers were convicted of using paramilitary operations and tactics to storm the Capitol and lead the charge of the brigade at the Western Tunnel up the front steps to break in using wedge and other military tactical methods, bring in tactical weapons, guns, ammunition, bombs, Kevlar jackets, baseball bats, all sorts of things, all coordinated by Stuart Rhodes, their leader. They said that they were the army of Donald Trump. They believe that Donald Trump gave them the command. And they said they were in contact with people within the Trump administration, or at least in the war room that had been set up by Donald Trump, that included Steve Bannon, Michael Flynn, Rudy Giuliani, and others in this war room. And so they were looking for coordination through the war room. That group, Donald Trump was like, yeah, those are bad guys. And so he only reduced their sentence but kept their pardons on the book, which has allowed Judge Mehta, joining this group of 5 now, judges in resistance, the Resistance 5, to look the Proud Boys in the eye, the Oathkeepers in the eye, no pun intended. When you see Stuart Rhodes' photo, you'll know what I'm talking about, and tell them that as a condition of their release, yes, their sentence has been commuted, but I'm allowed to continue as an Article 3 judge to impose on you conditions of your release. You are not to go near the Capitol any longer without court permission. You are not to, he blocked them from D.C. without court permission. Now, they'll try to argue in some sort of filing with Judge Mehta, oh, First Amendment, and it's inconsistent with the commutation of their sentence. I don't think it is. They did not get a pardon. We'll get to Roger Stone in a minute as to the reason they didn't get their pardon. Why are they different than the Proud Boys, who got virtually the same sentencing? In fact, Enrique Tarrio for the Proud Boys got 4 years more than Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the Oathkeeper, his counterpart.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Elevate your passion using the natural power of hemp with Via. Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids. They strengthen your libido, and you use a medium dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. We're talking about pairing aphrodisiac herbs with a mild amount of THC. Their best-selling High Love gummy will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify your physical experiences. Via just dropped their High Love bundle, which includes a pack of gummies and a THCA vape, so you can unlock the full experience at a reasonable price. That's a life hack for real. So trusted by over 500,000 happy customers, Via is well renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies and vapes, THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part, Via legally ships to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging, directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card is required. So if you're 21 or over, check out our link in Via's website and look at the description and use code MISTRIAL for 15% off. If you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. That's MISTRIAL, MISSTRIAL. Unlock the power of nature with Via's organic and vegan hemp extracts, which are perfect for relaxation and rejuvenation. It's a great product that I think you'll really like. If you're 21 or older, check out the link to Via in our description and use code MISTRIAL to receive 15% off. It's made in the USA. They have award-winning service, they have quality ingredients, and they are affordable and accessible. So if you're new to Via, get your free gift of your choice after you purchase. They'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show.
So they'll file, the Oath Keepers will file objections to Judge Mehta's blocking of their continued presence or future presence in the DC and in the corridor around the Capitol. And I think Mehta rejects that. And then it'll go up to the DC Court of Appeals to decide whether, if in a clemency commutation of sentence scenario, a federal judge continues to maintain jurisdiction and power and authority, equitable authority, inherent authority, to manage the post-release conditions of this particular defendant. Yes or no? There is case law on this already, and I think that sides with Judge Mehta. It may go up to the United States Supreme Court. We'll make new law again by these guys. And the fundamental question is going to be, does a judge, federal judge, after the commutation of a sentence, retain jurisdiction to set conditions of release? Yes or no? We will see. I think he's on the right side of the angels on that decision, for sure. Now let me turn to Roger Stone. If you lined them up, if I stripped away their titles, Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, and I just told you what they did, they're doppelgangers. They're virtually the same. Oath Keepers would scare the crap out of Proud Boys in a dark alley and vice versa. You know, they all were coordinated. They're all former military. They all used tactical weapons. They all used tactical approaches. They all fought battles on the Western Terrace, on the front steps, inside the court, inside the seat of our democracy. You use some version of bear spray and weapons against the police. All used communications devices to coordinate and filmed it all and put it on social media. Almost identical. They didn't coordinate, apparently. Maybe they didn't. What's the big difference? Roger Stone. Roger Stone saw the Proud Boys as his personal bodyguards. They were always with Roger Stone. Who's Roger Stone? He's that shadowy figure that really invented Stop the Steal back in 2016. He was talking about Stop the Steal before the election had even happened. He's a former Nixon White House counselor. In fact, I'm not making this up. Roger Stone, who is, how do I put this, eccentric, peculiar, has a giant tattoo on his back of Richard Nixon. Okay. Fell into the Donald Trump orbit. Got pardoned at one point by Donald Trump, Roger Stone did. Sought a pardon related to Jan 6 because he was also involved with the War Room. Did not get that pardon, that second pardon, but there's still time with Donald Trump. He just got in on Tuesday and has generally been an advisor and a counselor for all sorts of dirty tricks for Donald Trump. I think he was a lawyer, lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida and other places. He shows up with like a bowler, like he looks like, he stepped out of some 1940s movie with these broad pinstripe suits and crazy eyewear. We'll put up some photos. But he had used for years Proud Boys as his personal bodyguards in and out of courts, at press conferences, anything involving Donald Trump and the rest. It was almost like, the Brothers of Islam years ago protecting the civil rights leaders, like Martin Luther King and others. And so I am sure, I have a reasonable suspicion that Roger Stone talked to Donald Trump and said, not my Proud Boys. Don't let my Proud Boys just get their sentences commuted. They're great. They're defending democracy. Many of those Proud Boys, by the way, ran for office and are in Republican politics down in Miami, led by Enrique Tarrio, who's now out. And so I think the big difference because if you line them up, as I said, they're identical. They're two sides of the same coin. But one got their sentences only commuted and kept their convictions on the books, and the other, like Enrique Tarrio, with a higher sentence for doing more bad things, was partying in Miami the same night as the pardons were given out. The difference is Roger Stone, I'm sure of it. We'll continue to follow all of it right here and break it down for you on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Let me just go through some of the things that you can do to support this pro-democracy, completely independent, people-powered network and channel that I'm on. First of all, I've gone full time on the MeidasTouch Network and all things Legal AF since the election, for very good reason. I think I do about 15 to 20 videos on the MeidasTouch Network at the intersection of law and politics issues, and then we formed 2 months before the election in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, Legal AF, the YouTube channel that I curate, and I do about 5 or 6 videos a day there, along with other collaborators like Dina Dahl, like Court Accountability's Actions, Lisa Graves and Alex Aronson, like Shan Wu and the rest. Go over there. We added 50,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. This past month, all free, people-powered, at the intersection of law and politics. We're bringing you what you need, what you demand in terms of unfiltered commentary and analysis of the intersection of law and politics. So come join us there. Hit the free subscribe button. I got a brand new show called Popok Live. It's sort of like this, but 45 minutes to an hour. I joke that it's like Jimmy Kimmel Live, but without Jimmy. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a brand new podcast. We started it as kind of a special edition of Legal AF with me, but Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time on this MeidasTouch YouTube channel. And soon look for the announcement that we've launched it as a full-blown podcast, including an audio release. And then also we have finally Legal AF, the YouTube channel, and Legal AF, the podcast. 5 years in the making. Now you know why we called it Legal AF. I co-founded it with Ben Mysalis. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on this YouTube channel. Again, huge audience. We get up to 20,000 people in the live. We answer questions. And then, of course, we have it on audio podcast platforms of your choice. And then finally, I got a brand new big announcement. I'm teasing it now. Huge new thing in collaboration with Legal AF. A legal institute, a legal issue that I'm going to announce for justice, and I think it's going to excite our audience. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.